Hi there. Here's an interesting story called the Cobra Effect. We've all heard the proverb, haste makes waste. This story is a good example of that. Let me start the story with my life. In the early 1980s, I remember as a child often hearing about cobras. We children were always told to be careful, not to go into the nooks and crannies in our backyard. The cobras would often come to the little garage like room in our backyard, which was full of tools and other junk. They loved to be in the cool, dark, and silent spaces. And we often spotted one. And I remember my grandparents calling the snake charmer. They were known as the saperas. They would come with a round, flattish basket with a lid, a sack, a long stick, and of course their bean or pungi. You know that little wind instrument they would blow to the snakes? I would be very excited. But I was also afraid and equally curious to see them catch the snake. But my tata and paati never let me anywhere near them. However, once the snake was caught, the sapera would show me the snake and even allow me to touch it. Ooh! And for the next few days, all we spoke about was how cobras were spotted, how I saw one, how it was caught. And this was the story that was spoken in so many of my friends' houses. It was a common story. Now let's go back in time to the early 1900s. When this story began, it was in the colonial times. In those days, the people of Delhi had a big problem. The number of venomous cobras in Delhi had increased to an alarming extent. There were a lot of complaints about it. People were worried and afraid. The government was concerned and was under pressure to address it. And so, they came up with a reward program. They offered a reward to people who brought them dead cobras. The snake charmers were delighted. This was a good opportunity to make some easy money. They caught snakes, killed them, and collected their rewards. For a while, it seemed like the strategy was working wonderfully. People were happy to see that the government had taken strong action, and so they were reassured. But then, something happened that the government did not intend. For the snake charmers, this was a great business. But as the days went by, there were fewer and fewer snakes left, and with that, the reward money stopped coming in. Now the snake charmers did not want this problem to end. So they began to breed cobras, just so they could kill them and receive a reward. Eventually, the government got to know of this, and they realized their folly. They were being taken for a ride. So they immediately cancelled the reward program. Now the snake charmers had bred many snakes, and there was no money coming in. How do they take care of them? What do they do with them? And how do they feed them? What was an easy money-making business had become a burden to them. What happened next? Can you guess? The snake charmers took all their snakes and set them free. Just imagine, so many snakes, all free, roaming around in the backyards of Delhi. So now there were even more snakes all around Delhi than before. The problem had become worse. Based on the story, they coined the phrase, the Cobra Effect. Let's understand this phrase. You have a problem at hand and you create a solution. But instead of solving the problem, the solution creates bigger problems. This is called the Cobra Effect. Can you think of a situation from your life with the Cobra Effect? Think about it.